This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64. It reads, "And the Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even to the other. And thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone." Shalom Akim. Kol Haloyim La, Allahayanawa, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai Bahashem Rukaha Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, whom I've grown in this truth under. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwath that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. You Israelite foreigners out there who live among the heathen and who look like those heathen nations, but your lineage goes back to the progenitors of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel through the line of your fathers. I want to say peace and blessings to you all. Barakatham. All right. So for this long-awaited lesson, you know what I'm saying? I've been waiting for the spirit to jump on me to do this lesson, but it's time to finally jump into it, man. So the name of this lesson is Spotting an Israelite Foreigner Through the Spirit. All right. Spotting an Israelite foreigner through the Spirit. In this lesson, of course, I'm going to touch on the subject, all right, of what we within the brotherhood, of GMS, all right, and the men of the likewise doctrine, what we like to call the speckled bird Israelites or the Israelite foreigners, all right. And when we speak on speckled birds, it's in regards to the scriptures, as how the scriptures describe the Israelites and how they would be. Matter of fact, I believe that's in let's go to Jeremiah chapter 12. All right, this is Jeremiah chapter 12 and verse 9. It reads, "My heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about her are against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour." All right. And the Israelites have been scattered into all the nations. Okay. And this particular subject it's a topic that many Israelites become, rather obtuse about. In most cases, showing blatant disregard for common sense. Many Israelites don't like to hear this type of lesson, this type of teaching, because they're on some type of kick of Pan-Africanism or blackity black and I'm black y'all type shit, which I stress all the time, and many others, beginning with our apostles, bishops, and elders on down, we stress all the time saying that all the Israelites are not going to come looking like Wesley Snipes, like Michael B. Jordan, like Michael Jai White, like Idris Elba or Denzel Washington. They're just not going to come looking like that. Not all the Israelites. You see what I'm saying? Because we've been scattered. All right. And Lord willing, I'm going to show you some examples of that later on. So it goes without saying that this is going to offend a lot of you who are listening to this lesson, man. It's going to offend a lot of you Jakes, man, but it's okay. All right, it's okay, because that's what the prophets are here for. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're here for, man. We're here to piss y'all off, but it is what it is. The Lord said to make thy face as flint against their face. You know what I'm saying? And until judgment is set forth and the prophets are no longer around to tell you what's going on and tell you anything, you know what I'm saying, you're going to have to continue to suffer us. You know what I'm saying? So, with that said, all right, have a seat and grab a glass of wine, you know what I'm saying, or a drink of whatever beverage you like, whatever you choose. Get your Bible and grab your pen and paper. You know what I'm saying? So, let's begin with the book of Romans. Let's go to Romans chapter 8. And Lord willing, I'll be able to fit this lesson inside of an hour. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to move the way the Spirit moves me. So Romans chapter 8, verse 16. It reads, the Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. All right? And if children, then heirs, heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Hamashiach. If so be that we suffer with him, that we may also be glorified together. All right? And I've done a lesson on this subject before. You know what I'm saying? I believe I called it the mystery of the Israelite foreigner. I think that's what it was. All right, the mystery of the Israelite foreigner. And it is a mystery to the majority of you Israelites. You know what I'm saying? It is a mystery because you've been taught to look at things on the surface level. You know what I'm saying? You've never been taught how lineages are passed down, how they work. You know what I'm saying? This is a concept that the elites are very well knowledgeable of. You know what I'm saying? They know this. This is why they move the way they do concerning marriages, all right, and preservation of their families. You know what I'm saying? But they teach you people that people are mixed. That's what they do. They teach you that people are mixed and all that stuff. There's no such thing as a mixed person. You see what I'm saying? There's no such thing. A lineage is passed down by the seed or sperm of a man. That's how a lineage is passed down. All right? You are what your father is. Okay? The Heavenly Father is he's very complex. All right? And and at the same time he's intricate with his designs. You know what I'm saying? But he's also very simple in much of its execution. You know? So the Lord may be he may be complex, you know what I'm saying? He may be intricate. He may be very, very, what's the word? He's brilliant in his designs, you know what I'm saying? He's brilliant, to say the least. All right, but it's also simple in how it's executed, you know what I'm saying? And it just makes sense in the way that it rolls. All right? And so that's how you go with a lineage. All right, it's just that simple. You are what your father is. It's not, oh, you're half this, you're half that, you're half what your mama is, you're half what you know. You are what your father is. It's just that simple. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to the book of Numbers. All right, this is Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18. It says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls. When you think about the sons of Jacob, when you think about the lineage or the tribes of Jacob, okay, all 12 of those tribes, they're only named after the sons of Jacob. All right. They're not named after his daughter. All right. He had a daughter, but her name isn't mentioned in terms of the significance of lineage. Why? Because that's not how lineages work. It comes through the family line of the fathers. All right. So if I was to give you an analogy, pretty much, I could simplify this in the terms of how a bakery functions. Right. The man would be the baker. The woman is the oven, and the man's seed is the batter. All right. So you have the baker, you have the oven, and then you have the batter. The oven plays a vital role in this process, but its importance is that of incubation and nothing more. All right. Its role is very significant. It's very vital to this process, but it's only for incubation. It's only to bake this cake. All right. Now, of course, in terms of a woman, she's a nurturer. All right. And she has a very intimate bond with the child. Okay. But in terms of her contribution towards that child's lineage or pedigree, she has none. Right. So let's look up the word for pedigree real quick. All right. So the definition for a pedigree is a line of ancestors, a lineage, a list of ancestors, a family tree. Okay. It says a chart of an individual's ancestors used in human genetics to analyze Mendelian inheritance of certain traits, especially of familial diseases. A list of ancestors of a pure breed animal. All right, so you get it. All right, you get it. A line of ancestors, a descent, a lineage, a genealogy, a register of record, or a record of a line of ancestors. So again, it says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward, by their polls. All right. So let's go back. Okay. So in terms of the contribution that a woman has towards the lineage of a child, she doesn't have any. You know what I'm saying? Now, in terms of her, in terms of her genes, you know what I'm saying, she can pass down certain genetic traits. You know what I'm saying? She can pass down certain features, right? The child may come having, the woman's particular chin, or her hair texture, or even her skin complexion. But the lineage of that child is determined by his father. Okay? So just as you should never judge a book by its cover, it's important that you don't judge an Israelite by their color. Okay? The same way you don't judge a book by its cover is the way that you don't judge an Israelite by his or her color. Okay? Like we got in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 12, verse 9. All right, the Lord said that his heritage would be unto him as a speckled bird. All right, a speckled bird is a bird of vibrant colors. You know what I'm saying? And due to the dispersion of the children of Israel, all right, having been scattered around the world for centuries, it's only common sense, it's only natural, all right, to note that the offspring of Jacob would look vastly different from his descendants, from what his descendants had originally looked. Because at one point in time, we were all dark skinned. At one point in time, we all had melanin. All right, that was nothing, out of this world. You see what I'm saying? But, John the Revelator, all right, take for example, John the Revelator, you know what I'm saying? He himself was perplexed, all right? He was perplexed by this when it was shown to him by the angels, okay? When the angel had asked him to identify who he was looking at. Real quick, let's go to Revelation. All right, this is Revelation chapter 7, verse 9. It says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne and upon the Lamb." You see what I'm saying? "And all the angels stood round about the throne and about the elders and the four beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces and worshipped the Most High, saying, Amen, blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our power forever and ever. Amen. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes? And whence came they? So the angel is asking John the Revelator, all right, saying, who are these people? And where they come from? Verse 14, "And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said unto me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and had washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb." Okay, so the Lord was telling, John the Revelator that these were the Israelites. All right, they came out of their persecution, that came out of the tribulation. You see what I'm saying? And John the Revelator, he couldn't understand it because they didn't look like the traditional Israelite would look. You see what I'm saying? You have to remember that John is being shown a vision of the future. All right, this is a time before the great dispersion. This was a time before the great scattering. All right, where both kingdoms were sent throughout the whole corners of the globe. You know what I'm saying? The four corners, man. All right. So John the Revelator, he couldn't recognize them. He couldn't recognize any of them. All right. You had jokers that looked like Chinese, that looked like Moabites, looked like Ammonites, looked like Elamites, looked like Edomites, looked like Ishmaelites, so on and so forth. All right. So he couldn't distinguish them. The prophet Ezra had seen the same exact thing. As a matter of fact, let's go there. Let's see. Let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 2. All right, this is 2nd Esdras chapter 2 and let's start at verse 38. It reads, "Arise up and stand. Behold the number of those that be sealed in the feast of the Lamb." All right, or the feast of the Lord, Salakia, "which are departed from the shadow of the world and have received glorious garments of the Lord. Take thy number, O Zion, and shut up those of thine that are clothed in white, which have fulfilled the law of the Lord." You see what I'm saying? We're talking about the same vision that John the Revelator had seen. Okay? And he said, take thy number, O Zion. You see what I'm saying? These are Israelites that we're talking about. Yet John the Revelator, he couldn't understand who he was looking at. But these are the same people clothed in white. Okay? Take thy number, O Zion, and shut up those of thine that are clothed in white, which have fulfilled the law of the Lord. The number of thy children, whom thou longest for, is fulfilled. Beseech the power of the Lord, that thy people which have been called from the beginning may be hallowed. All right? This is talking about the first fruits and the remnant. Verse 42, I, Ezra, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people, an innumerable multitude. All right? A great people whom I could not number. Okay? And they all praised the Lord with songs. And in the midst of them, there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest. And upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. All right. And it says, so I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? All right. So you got to look at this, man. John the Revelator, he asked, Sir, who are these? All right. Because the angel had asked John the Revelator first, said, can you tell me who these are? And John the Revelator couldn't tell him because he didn't know. And then Ezra, seeing the same vision, he asked, who are these? I can't distinguish them. I don't know who they are. You see what I'm saying? So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? Verse 45 says, he answered and said unto me, these be they that have put off the mortal clothing and have put on the immortal. Immortality is only allotted to the Israelites, man. It's not allotted to anyone else. Only the Israelites will partake of that, of that blessing, of the promise. You see what I'm saying? And put on the immortal and have confessed the name of the Most High. Now are they crowned and receive palms. Okay. So you have two witnesses that have seen the same vision. All right. And so because we've been heavily, so heavily scattered, it's nearly impossible to track down someone's patriarchal lineage. You know what I'm saying? And even if you go down the route of DNA testing, that only takes you but so far. All right. Because these Amalekites have control over the DNA. Okay. Over these DNA data centers, man. So they can change anything however they want to. All right. So going down the DNA route's is not the surefire way. The best way to determine is through the Spirit. Okay? The best way to determine is through the Spirit, up and down, straight up. And this is an attribute that only particular Israelites who are spiritual can ascertain. You see what I'm saying? Over the years of having been taught by the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, you know what I'm saying? I've concluded that there are a number of ways to spot an Israelite foreigner through the Spirit. You know what I'm saying? Remember what we learned in that commentary. Okay? The aspect of being speckled, you know what I'm saying, may imply a mixture of corruption of sorts. Right? So, let's see. And when you look at something that's speckled, or something that's of a sort of a corruption of some sort, you know what I'm saying? It's unique. All right, it's set apart. You know what I'm saying? Let me show you something real quick. All right. So when you look at a speckled bird, its vibrant colors tends to set it apart, you know what I'm saying, and make it unique in a way. All right. Yet it's also vulnerable. Okay. Like the beloved Elder Malcolm, all right, what he likes to say is, you can't fake Jake. You know what I'm saying? That's what he loves to say. You can't fake Jake, and it's absolute. That's absolutely true. You cannot fake Jake because the scriptures tell us plainly, all right, in Jeremiah. Let me get that real quick. What is that? Jeremiah chapter 51. Okay, this is Jeremiah 51 and verse 19. It reads, "The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name." Okay, so the portion of Jacob is not like them. The Israelites are not like the rest. All right, in the book of Matthew, it says what? It says that ye are the salt of the earth, right? Real quick. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5. Let's see if that's it. No, that's not it. That's not it. Slocky. Let me look this up real quick. Oh yeah, I was right. I was right. Come on, I was right. Salakia. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 13. It reads, "Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men." All right? Because what did it say in the book of Jeremiah chapter 12 verse 9? It said what? All the beasts round about come to devour. Okay? So yeah, the Israelites are very very unique, all right, very vibrant, very beautiful, but also very vulnerable. All right? So these are the things to keep in mind when spotting an Israelite fauna. Okay? Remember, you can't fake Jake. Okay? So in identifying an Israelite fauna, you know what I'm saying, through the spirit, I pretty much narrowed down many particular traits into 4 categories, right? And the 4 categories, you can write these down. Number 1, they have a flow about them. All right, they have a flow about them that resonates with other Israelites. Okay? This is primarily expressed through different skills that they possess. All right? Albeit through art or through music, through sports, through poetry, etc. You know what I'm saying? So that's one aspect. That's number 1. Number 2, all right, number 2, they have a propensity or an inclination to be around other Israelites. You see what I'm saying? All right, they are inclined to be around other Israelites and interact with them. Okay? They're drawn to them, if you will. All right, for example, they may feel more at home with being around so-called black and brown people than they would being around those whom they resemble. You know what I'm saying? They may even wish to adopt the look, all right, or the style of these so-called black and brown people. Okay? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, man. Number 3, they possess the ability to have a major influence in the world through their skill, through their flow, through their attributes, all right, they're capable of making an impact worldwide. That's number 3. Number 4, they have a very strong attachment to the spiritual. All right. They have a very strong attachment to the spiritual. They may believe in a higher power, even if they don't believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right. Something within them keeps them believing that there is a force that's greater than themselves. Okay. These are pretty much the 4 categories that I used, all right, or that I come to understand in how to identify an Israelite foreigner. Okay. And I've honed in on these categories, you know what I'm saying, to help determine through the spirit when potentially spotting one of them. Okay. And with those points outlined, I want to show you a couple examples of what I mean. All right. So let's get straight to it. All right. So the first on the list would be Bruce Lee. All right. Bruce Lee. You know, many of us in the Brotherhood, majority of us in the Brotherhood understand that Bruce Lee was a Jake, man. Bruce Lee was an Israelite. Okay. And by extension, his son, okay, would also have been an Israelite. You see what I'm saying? You are what your father is. Now, how do we know if Bruce Lee was an Israelite? You can tell through his flow. All right, you could tell through his his impact on the world. You can tell through his ability to influence, the world's perception. All right. He has a strong connection to the spiritual. All right. If you listen to some of his lessons, he always delved in the spiritual. Okay. And he was closely aligned with Jake. He was closely aligned with Israelites, man. All right. From what I heard, I was listening to the actor Michael Jai White. I mentioned him earlier, and he was speaking on Bruce Lee, Michael Jai White, and he said that his first student, I believe one of his first students was a so-called black man. All right. When he came to the States, his first student was a so-called black man. And so these are the things that you would use to identify an Israelite foreigner. You know what I'm saying? Now, that doesn't mean that they have to have all 4 of these categories in place. They can have one or more. They can have all of them. You see what I'm saying? Which is why I perceive through the spirit that Akira Toriyama was an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? With his great work of the Dragon Ball series, you know what I'm saying? It impacted the entire world. And the story that he told was so closely mirroring that of Israelites. You know what I'm saying? So-called Negroes being called monkeys, being oppressed, being put in slavery, things of that nature, ruled by a massive tyrant. All right. That was what I speculate through the spirit. You know what I'm saying? What I perceive through the spirit. Let me give you another example. right. So as you can see, okay, he has a flow. He has that flow. Like the elder Malcolm says, you can't fake Jake. He has the flow of a Jake. He has the flow of an Israelite. Okay, a son of Jacob. You know what I'm saying? Uh, he has the propensity or the inclination of being around other Israelites. Okay, and interact with them. What was one of his most famous? One of his most famous movies? I'd say arguably his most famous movie. His most famous movie was Rush Hour. Okay, and who was he with? He was with Chris Tucker. All right. And it was such a hit, it ended up being a whole movie series. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because it was two Israelites coming together and it works so well. It always works so well. Let's get another example. All right. So you're starting to get the idea, right? Let me show you another example.
What is he doing? Oh yeah, so he was telling me that if you cut a carrot a certain way, you can play it like a flute. He really thinks that's gonna work? Apparently it's a thing. Just ignore him. Ready? Yeah, do me a favor. Pull up that one session we... Yeah, look, they said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. Yeah, if you know, I've been on a mission. Go. Okay, let's get it. Got a little time on my hands like a wristwatch. I don't got time for the brakes and the pit stop. Race through the gridlock, take it like Chris Rock. Right to the chin, still win. Heavy metals like Slipknot. Got the driving, I got tunnel vision. I just hit my stride the way I run the business. I've been making paper like I'm Dunder Mifflin. See the end game, I got one division. Look, I don't ever bother with a critic. Hit him with a chronicle Riddick. Boom. Yo. What? We're it. This is what we do.
Okay. So by now you're really starting to get the idea of what we talk about when we say the Israelite foreigners. All right. They don't look like your average Israelite. They don't look like what you would normally perceive as being an Israelite. No. But they have the flow. They have the they have the spirit. All right. And they have influence as well. You know what I'm saying? Because Israelites just come with a particular frequency. Okay? When we say that it is the Israelites who are the natural rulers of this world, okay, you can clearly see that through the way that the world responds to an Israelite's frequency. You see what I'm saying? This man right here, all right, you know him from the Fast and Furious movie, okay? His name is Sun Kang, okay? And this is his family. But from looking at him, you wouldn't be able to tell that he's an Israelite, all right? But you are what your father is, okay? As you can see. So, This should help you understand, all right, what we mean. Now, let me show you one of my own, personal experiences. Bear with me. All right. So I've showcased this strapping young man before in a previous lesson of mine. All right. And he was a good friend. He was a good friend from a job that I worked at. All right. And you know, at first I didn't know anything about him. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know him. I saw him in passing. All right. I quit that job. I went to another job and I worked there for a little while. And I saw that boy, you know what I'm saying? I saw this kid every so often at my previous job. Well, while I'm working at my new job, here comes this kid, you know what I'm saying? He's a new welder, he's a new worker that comes through, and he notices me instantly. Instantly. I never knew this guy. I never even paid any attention to him. You know what I'm saying? Though I've seen him before. But he knew me instantly and he ran up to me. He was like, "Oh, you remember me? You remember me?" I was like, "No." You know what I'm saying? And it was like he gravitated to me. You know what I'm saying? And I noticed how he would gravitate to other Israelites at the plant that I worked at. All right. And so what I did was I tested him for a couple months. And after a while of testing the spirit, I realized this is an Israelite. I came to the conclusion this is an Israelite. All right. And I began to, divulge to him, the truth. I started to tell him about the Lord. I started to tell him about the truth. You know what I'm saying? And I told him, "Hey man, I believe you're an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? That your fathers goes back to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, or Native Americans." And he didn't understand he didn't know how to take that, but he took it. You know what I'm saying? He believed it. I taught him the names, Yahweh, Yahushai. He believed in those names. He started to call on those names. You know what I'm saying? He started to change his life. A lot of the things that he was into, he stopped doing them. You see what I'm saying? To this very day, I could call him up. I can call him up and say, "Hey, what's the names?" And he'll tell me, Yahweh, Yahushai. All right. Well, guess what? A little while ago, he hits me back up, and he's just ecstatic because I'd allowed him to come into my house. You know what I'm saying? He lived with me for a little while, and he got on his feet. He moved out, and he's in a different town now. He hit me up and he said, "Oh man, look, check this out." And he showed me that he's that he's an Israelite that goes back to the so-called Negroes, man. All right, through his father, his great grandfather is a so-called Negro. Okay. And he was just ecstatic. I was surprised because I thought he was descended from the tribe of Issachar, but indeed he's actually a Judite. He's descended from the tribe of Judah. But looking at this dude, you know what I'm saying? Look at him, blonde hair, blue eyes. You wouldn't know. You see what I'm saying? Because you can't look at the outward appearance. All right. But through the line of his fathers, he is an Israelite. All right. So that was my personal experience. Let me show you another example.
You know what's confusing? My existence. Now, hear me out. Now, this is my brother. Makes sense. We're both white, blonde hair, whatever. What's the big deal? Now, this is my mom. It's like, okay, well, she has brown hair, recessive genes. It's still possible. However, this is my dad. So, why am I white? Here's a family photo from 2007 in case you don't believe me. There's little me. Yes, my dad is full black. So can someone please explain to me the Punnett square? Because from my understanding, I should not look like this. Again, why am I white? And not only white at that, why am I blonde too? Because that makes no sense. You know how confusing it is when I have to fill out paperwork and there's no other option for the race or ethnicity part? I can't put that I'm black or African American because they'll think that's some sick joke. But when I put white, I feel like I'm lying. Alright, Jamaican baby, let's chat because I'm assuming this is you. Okay, I thought so. So this is a picture of me. Oh, I'm adorable. So here's a picture of me with my parents. This is my mom with blonde hair and blue eyes, and this is my dad, who is black, and he's African American. Here's another photo of my parents with my biracial little sister. Isn't she cute? This is terrible lighting, but this is a photo of my dad and his mother, whose parents are also black. So here's a photo of my dad and his two brothers who are black. And I'm sorry, my dad just didn't bake enough. Last photo, here's my dad and my mother, my little sister Malia, black. So y'all please tell me where my white father is, as I haven't seen him in a while.
All right. So you get the idea. Okay, you get the idea. You can't take it by face value. Okay? You can't take these things by face value. The way you can identify an Israelite, the most effective way is through the Spirit. And not everybody is able to do that. All right? But you are what your father is. Now here in this picture, you have an Israelite man, all right, who married an Edomite woman. Okay? The children came out, no matter how they came out, but they are Israelite children. You see what I'm saying? No matter how they look, they are still Israelite children. Now, on the other hand, you have an Edomite man who married an Israelite woman. Okay? The children, no matter how they look, they are Edomite children. They are descendants of the tribes of Edom, of the house of Edom. You see what I'm saying? This is how a lineage works. All right? So, with that, I mean, I have so many other, examples that I can share with you. All right? As a matter of fact, let me share a couple more real quick.
Taking my thumbs and bruises, but I'm still here. Yes, I am. Yes, you are. Loneliness, I had my share of loneliness, but I'm still here. Listen. Through it all, I made it through another day's journey. God Can anybody relate tonight? I made it through. Another day's journey. God kept me here. Oh, yeah. Lied on. Many times I've been lied on, but I'm still here. Thank you, Lord. Burdens, had to bear so many burdens, but I'm still here. Yes. Ooh, dark days, had my share of dark days, but I'm still here. Ooh, disappointment, and so many disappointments, but I'm still here. I made it through the day's journey. Oh, God kept me here. I don't know how you feel about me. I made it.
My dad was black. Yeah, it was like, come here. I think it was at breakfast or something. He's like, looks at his phone. He's like, yo, dad black. His energy changed.
No, because I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw like his dad was black. And I think I saw it like at night, bro, and it was just something on my mind. Like I gotta ask him when I see him at practice tomorrow.
Did he look like your dad?
Yeah, like I look exactly.
Your dad not driving, is he? Was he in the Escalade?
Yeah, he was in the
Yeah, bro,
yeah.
because he was parked at the Red Bull facility, and it fucked me up. Like, because I didn't know what car it was, obviously, but like he was blocking me, so I like went up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm trying to get out. He wrote it down. It looked exactly like me.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie. If my dad didn't look exactly like me, I'd be like, yo, mom's.
All right. So I hope this explained much of what I mean and much of what we of the Brotherhood mean when we say Israelite foreigners. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the fact that all 12 of the tribes have been scattered throughout the world. You know what I'm saying? When you look at so many of those Israelites that look like, you know, so-called Chinese or Japanese, you know what I'm saying? All right, you have to remember that there's billions of people, all right, in those regions, billions of people in that region. And you know what I'm saying? You would be foolish to think that there aren't Israelites that's scattered among them. You know what I'm saying? This is Isaiah chapter 16 and verse 4. Let mine outcasts dwell with thee, Moab. All right, who's Moab? Moab is the Chinese, the Moabites. Chinese, North Korean, South Korean. Okay? Moab. Be thou a covert to them from the face of the spoiler. For the extortioner is at an end. The spoiler ceaseth. The oppressors are consumed out of the land. All right, you have to understand why the Lord even scattered us the way that he did to begin with. All right, you have to know your enemy, Esau, Edom. And what is his desire? His desire is to root out the Israelites. His desire is to reclaim the birthright. Well, he can't reclaim the birthright if the Israelites are still here. You see what I'm saying? And so, if they all look the same, he would destroy us all. All right? If we all looked exactly the same, he would do away with us. But because we now look like everybody on the planet, it makes it harder for him to do it. This is why he has to go forward with his mass surveillance through biotechnology, with a subdermal device that goes underneath the skin. Because if he can monitor you underneath, if he can take control of your very molecular structure, then he can control you. You see what I'm saying? In order for him to rule the world, he has to have the natural rulers under subjection. All right? And this is how he's been able to have such a foothold over the planet the way he has, and for so long. You see what I'm saying? So I hope this makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I know it's only going to make sense to the elect. It's not going to make sense to everyone. All right? But you are what your father is. You see what I'm saying? Not based off of skin color. It's based off of lineage. So let me get this in the book of James, and I'm going to close it out. Okay, James chapter 1. This is James chapter 1 and verse 1. It reads, James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. Kol halo Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Ruchak Wadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone from our grown in this truth under. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect that's been scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. To all you Israelites, greetings. Shalom.